Got a few minutes yet.
Corn looks pretty good, Chris.
Yeah, it does. I was down in your field, well, that baby.
Had that middle one earmarked to chop.
They look good.
Tacos.
No,
I
that,
don't know what happened.
that I don't.
So that, I supposed to get that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll get that rending
Yeah, whatever.
in another year.
Rhonda, do you want to sit
I
here?
guess I would just soon,
There's nobody going to be sitting there. We can do that.
if I could.
Well, I mean, you'll be able to hear from forever.
Okay.
You know,
Well, I bet it is. Everything I've heard from these.
because I can watch myself at the screen, especially at night when I can't see the mark. Just watch this. But it's gotta be working right.
Yeah. It's just a detail.
Lady told me the other day, she says, you know, get me a bill for that corn, man. And I said, I'm not gonna get you a bill until we harvest it. Why is that? She says, "You need to see
Vero,
that one
you share the
EDU, you need to
minutes.
diamond and then a stand this wide. I don't know, it's just weird.
Am I running this, Julie?
Yes, please.
I don't worry about it. It was-
I am here, Julie.
Super. I hear you, and I found the minutes, so we're good. The Zoom is running and up. Who's doing the meeting?
I am. It's not quite 7, or what did
It
your
is
computer
7.
say? Okay,
7 o'clock.
all right. Call to order, verification of meeting notice.
I saw it posted online.
Okay. Roll call.
Mrs. Blazinski? Here. Mr. Brisboy?
Here.
Mrs. Variance?
Here.
Mr. Lewis? Mr. Manning?
Here.
Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Mrs. Rowe?
Here.
Approval of the agenda.
I'll move approval.
I'll second. Motion by Mr. Brisboy, second by Mrs. Blazinski. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of July 13th, 2020.
Looks good to me. I'll make a motion.
Did you see a Mr. or Mrs.?
Well, I had
Blazinski.
messaged Julie.
I changed
and
it.
She changed it, I think.
Because I didn't read it until later, so maybe it was already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, motion by
Mrs. Blazinski.
Blazinski, is there a second? Second by Mrs. Variance, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizens forum. Are there any citizens out there on Zoom wishing to speak? Or Rhonda at this time? No. Okay.
I do. I'm not really a citizen, but I want to thank Julie for all her work. This is extremely stressful for her and for all of us, but she has put in a godly amount of thought and hours. And whether or not what we decide tonight is right or wrong, we're going to give it a shot and do the best we can. And I think her for helping me particularly be calm and collected as much as she can. So thank you.
It is a crazy time, that's for sure, and it gets crazier almost every day. 6, old business, 6.1, discussion and possible action on implementing the first steps for next year.
So the plan is not really changed. The only thing I believe I changed was that on your discussion at the last 2 weeks ago, that they're called face coverings and they will be worn by everybody. Anybody can wear a shield, a mask, or both. And I did do a little video, first time ever. I hope everybody got to see it. The biggest thing that we've been talking about is this little chart here. This was this morning's work. This is the high school schedule. Just show the camera real quick. Only the green ones are shared kids in a class. The yellow ones are not shared. So as you can see, almost every group has shared kids. We know we're gonna, thanks, Amanda. We know we're going to, and then we went through and we count, you know, how many kids in each class, what grade are they in, where can we put them? So we have created for you our kind of our next step of, I told you I had that big 50,000 foot view. Now I'm getting down to the class level. So elementary and middle school are still pretty good. High school, option A. Yeah, did you connect it there?
No, I emailed it.
You email it to me. Just a second, sorry. Not even in my inbox. There we go. I'm just gonna share my screen, everybody, so you can see it. No, but everybody can see it that's on the Zoom, and everybody here has a paper copy. All right, so option A, again, we're going with the 5 days a week thought process. Cohort K through 12, students are assigned a room and remain in the room for the majority of the day with the same group of kids. Middle school's already separated. They're in 2 groups, A and B, and teachers will move from room to instruct them. High school students are assigned rooms with their grade level classmates. So
Juniors will be together. Yep. 3 different rooms, freshmen in 2 rooms, sophomores in 2 rooms, seniors in 2 rooms.
and they'll be there for the majority of the day.
And it's based on a formula of how many kids per square feet can be in there with maintaining social distancing.
I have a quick question on the maintaining social distancing and how many kids we're planning for and everything. Are we planning to send out another survey? Because as
Yes.
things change, I'm sure there's some parents who've changed their minds or whatever, so.
I would like to by the end, midweek,
Okay,
and by the end of the.
Yeah, that's the idea, that we were gonna have a nice robust discussion here because we didn't know what it would look like because we can only do things incrementally.
right, no, I get that.
And then what you guys decide tonight, then I'll share out tomorrow and the next day, and we'll probably do a survey with the same
Yeah, I think
intent.
there's a fair number of kids that, what I have been hearing, are not coming, so.
And that,
It might be easier to social distance when it's gone. Yeah,
Absolutely.
correct.
yeah, okay.
They-
Okay, so again, this is one of the choices. We do have two, there's an option B. So high school are assigned to their rooms with their grade levels. Teachers will teach virtually from a room while the students in their own cohorts will Zoom in with headsets. Teachers will teach in a room every hour that has a majority of students in that class. For example, Mr. Klang, second hour, will teach in rooms 312 and 313 alternating days. This will allow him to have live instruction with each group while the other group is virtual with his class on the other day.
So are we talking about, so zooming in means the kids who are learning virtual are getting the live instruction also?
Yes.
And can turn their speaker on and ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So, and that would happen in 2 rooms and virtually.
Yes, okay.
So 1 room in the cohort, freshmen, sophomores, and seniors have 2 rooms. Juniors have 3 because they're a larger class.
So when we looked at like where we're still tweaking out like who's in what room, what hour, but so let's say there's 3 age levels in 1 room, what's the majority? And then maybe try to alternate so that the kids that are in the building can get some face-to-face with that teacher to some extent.
Okay.
So the idea is that sometimes, for example, Mrs. Behrens might have to come and get a couple kids and take them someplace.
In their cohort though. So
In their
if she
cohort.
took Freshmen, it would be freshmen going together. We're not trying not to mingle grade levels.
Correct. That would be and that's the safest way to do this at this point. And then they're in the room the whole time. We don't have to worry about them getting up and leaving, and now we have to wash everything up in the room before the next group of kids sits down, because they're just gonna be in that room.
With assigned desks.
Yes, with assigned seats, space, everybody will have face mask or a covering, shield, thank you. And then the nice part is Ms. Lovin can take all the cohorts outside so that for gym, if they have gym, they get to go outside, move around, all that kind of stuff. And then,
Mask is the goal for when they're outside, as long as they maintain social distancing.
right,
And I'm assuming the virtual kids will do like they did last quarter where they turn in a sheet of signs that they've done a certain amount of
Yep.
activity.
yep. And we've actually looked at, there was a couple of students in independent PE, and they were gonna be in an 8th grade class. We might have to have them do something different, because we really don't wanna mix them.
Right, okay.
So as far as attendance too, Susan, I looked last week at Wisconsin Virtual School to see what they do, because they follow the same guidelines that we do with attendance. And so one of the things that they do is parents have to sign off on the number of hours the child is in class during the day, along with being online, certain amount of time, and turning in assignments during specific times. So like, if a child has 5 classes, and they would have to, the teacher would sign that during, and it had to be turned in that day, along with parent signature and engaging in the class to count as being in class. It's gonna be more cumbersome, and it's not like, well, I'll wait till Friday and do it all. No,
Right.
then you're absent, and now truancy comes into
And you
play.
can see who's in a Zoom meeting, so you can tell if they logged on to watch and, yeah, okay.
And if they can't, let's say like in my incident, we can't Zoom, but we can engage, like if I as the teacher were to submit something that you had to return, I can do that during the class period,
Okay.
which then tells you as a teacher, you were engaged.
You gotta remember, Zoom also takes phone calls. So if you have a landline,
Right.
you can call.
Okay.
You don't need a video, you don't need anything. You
Right.
can be listening to the lesson on your phone.
And engaging with the through the Zoom, just like here.
I can speak to that actually. I Zoom at home for work. We have just the WeConnect satellite internet like everybody else, and somebody else can be using the internet. I can be seeing the Zoom. I can't do the call, but I can use my landline to call. I can see everything that's happening and they can hear me in real time. So that does work very, very well. And it works with our current internet in the area as well.
So, and again, it's something new. So currently on this meeting, we have, I believe, let me click my participants. We have 15 participants. There's quite a few people that are just on their phones because they just show up as phone numbers. So the teachers will get used to the students' phone numbers and knowing that that's the kid that, oh yeah, that's right. And then they'll take attendance and stuff like that, a way to connect with the kids.
And we will learn from Kristen Golly of how to more securely have Zoom rooms. Then this is an open room because it's an open meeting. There's more secure ways that you do with kids. You can also, break it down. Like if I have 20 kids, I can break it into rooms and have more small group instruction during the time. I can meet with this group, and I can see them and go into those rooms. We'll learn all about that.
So then one more quick question, sorry, keeping our boys in time. But, will they be able to like have one-on-one instruction, say, my son Aaron maybe is having a hard time with a math concept and he asked the question but didn't exactly get it, so he wants to talk to Mr. Trapon.
Yeah.
So then he can either talk to him during like a
Mr. Tapon's prep
prep or
or
after school or
after
something?
school, there's the attack time.
Right, okay,
So there's other avenues for that.
okay, thanks.
So on this with Ms. Lovin, can the class size be 27, or there's going to be day 1, day 2 because of the class size at 27, and it'll be,
It depends on what she's teaching. So if she's gonna have all 27 of them standing there in calisthenics and burpees and they're all gonna stand in one spot, she could be outside with all 27 of them and be safe.
but not in the gym?
No,
Depends on the activity.
Depends on the activity, because I would think you could distance 27 kids in the gym.
yes, you can, but again, if they're doing,
Right, if spittle and whatever else, yeah, okay.
Well, they'll still wear their masks, just like
Right, okay.
volleyball and the basketball when they're, they're masking up and it's working, you know, kids are
The
getting
weather's
better
nice and
shape,
they're outside, then they don't have to.
Right.
as long as they're social distancing.
Right.
Because they can, you know, they can get outside and think it's safe, but they come together, they're together for 15 or 20 minutes, now they could be exposed, so.
All right. Middle school, high school lunch, we're still working out some of the details. We're pretty certain that we can do all the lunches in the rooms except for the high school. High school will we'll have to set up a way to have, because many of the students have fifth hour study hall or band and choir, and they can't have a full band and a full choir, so they're going to have freer time that hour. So we might do, you know, every 5 minutes, another group of 10 dismisses so that they're not all just standing 6 feet apart, because we go all the way to the football field and back.
We're gonna use the gym, the commons, and the patio for beginning of the year.
For
Is
them.
there a possibility for options for like a bag lunch where they can just pick it up and go
Yes.
instead of having to go through for hot too?
Yeah, we're talking about having only bag lunch for breakfast, bag breakfast for breakfast, and then a grab and go or a hot meal.
Okay.
And
And
just one choice is.
Yeah, they don't have to offer this year. Typically they would say, would you like this or this? And this year they go, here you go.
So the tray will be provided, you come pick it up.
You come pick it up. So it saves a lot of time. And then we also will have our cards that they can scan versus pushing no touch.
Yeah.
And it automatically takes the meal out.
Okay.
So we'll have to have, and we have 2 of them, so we can have 2 lines going at the same time. And then they go get their food and sit down and eat. We'll have it pre-marked. You can sit where there's a blue X. First come, first serve. And then we'll just rotate the kids through the lunch. And then the elementary is the same that we've talked about before. They're staying their grade levels. We still haven't 100% figured out where every single class is going to be.
Based on numbers.
Based on numbers.
Change the rooms based on numbers.
Encore teachers will go to the elementary classrooms. The students will eat in their lunchrooms,
In their classrooms.
in their classrooms. The pairs will relieve the teachers for their duty-free lunch. And then we're gonna, you know, the nice part about an elementary group is that at any point they can say, all right, we're at 10:05, my team is gonna go outside and have a mask break. So they go out, everybody gets separated and they say, okay, on the count of 3, let's take our masks off, and everybody can take their mask off. We're outside, we breathe. Now, my mask won't stay up today.
Don't have, you don't have a class out.
I just washed it. Maybe I stretched it out when I washed it. All right. So you get the idea. And we have to talk about 4K a little bit later in the agenda. So there are some barriers to this process. It's less prep time for all the teachers. It's more time.
Say that, I'm just gonna talk to that a little bit. So we haven't figured out yet exactly how to, but like the high school and the middle school, the kids are in the same room all day. So if it's my classroom and it's my prep hour, we have to find a pair to fill, and then we're going to establish that side of the library for teachers to come to prep. The other thing though is they're not only prepping for in class, they have virtual kids at home that have to be engaged with differently, or like you talked about, you want a one-on-one where it used to be run down during study hall. We're not going to have that option. So that's a significant barrier, this prep time, because we're teaching virtually and in class, and it's all new. So I just want the board to keep that in mind. It's going to be much more than just what we think. If it's my classroom and the kids are there and it's my prep time, all of my planning materials are here, but I need to leave the room because those kids are still in class. They're virtually, you know, if it's my room, maybe Ron is teaching, they're headsetting in and he's in a different room. So they might be talking, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, when I prep, I want to spread my stuff out and sit down and get to business, and that's not the way it's going to be. So I just wanted to.
And some teachers teach 4 or 5 classes, and some of us had 26 in a day. So, you know, that's a lot of prep. So
we're making use of the amphitheater. We're gonna put that in and make use of that. Could we use this courtyard for an extra teacher prep area when the weather's nice, or are we putting kids out there?
We're not
we're trying to leave a few spaces open because we're not quite set up yet. But, you know, so the freshmen are in a group and the teacher's noticing, okay, these kids need to move, we're gonna walk down to the courtyard. It's
Or
a,
come into this part of the library, you know, to have a change of scenery, or to go to the amphitheater, or, you know,
even the multi-purpose room we left open on purpose, because we could potentially even take a group and say, all right, next 3 days, you're in the multi-purpose room, they're farther apart, it's a different atmosphere, they don't have to look at the same posters, it's just a change. So we're kind of thinking that way a little bit, that, well, they're gonna get boards, yeah, they are. Did you want to keep talking about the positives?
the barriers and more time in the building, that therefore more exposure for kids and adults, and possibly additional staffing. You know, as we work through where people are in supervising, it may cause us to need more people in the building. Positives of the 5-day, it's more face-to-face with teachers. The kids are able to socially interact within their cohorts to some extent, and continuity.
All right, so that is an option, and we're talking mainly with the high school, that staying in cohorts 5 days a week. Option B is, oops, I gotta move my mouse cursor down, everybody. All right, option B is 4 days teaching face-to-face, 1 virtual day. Now, this is the same as option A, except this will give, the teachers are still teaching all the same days, and this is only for the high school. We're not talking for middle school or elementary. This is only for the high school kids to not be in the building 1 day. So that gives the high school and the middle school teachers then, because we can fill in some more prep time. They still have to teach their classes, but they won't have all the students around them. So that when you talk about spreading out in your classroom and working, you'll have that option. So the teachers are still here. We're still having virtual interaction with all the high school classes.
So on that day, maybe we've run a shortened schedule. So instead of classes being 45 minutes, it might be 25 minutes. And so I would, if I have first hour English, I'm gonna Zoom, and I'm at home, as I'm a high school kid, I'm gonna Zoom in. And then 25 minutes later, I have math, I'm gonna Zoom in. And throughout, and then, you know, maybe from 8 to noon is when the classes are, kind of an abridged version to, what do you need help with? This is what you were assigned, this is what's, you know, the videos you're supposed to watch or whatnot.
What is the day we're thinking Wednesday? Is there a day that's been picked?
Not
No, we're-
necessarily.
Not yet, but it depends on with the 4K.
Right.
So I'd like to coincide it the same day.
And just throwing it out there is that we know that sports comes secondary to our academic and all that, but we also know that people are going to try to do it. So it would be great to pick a day where we weren't going to have exposure anyways with kids coming back to school for something. Do you know what I mean? That should be,
That makes sense.
I think, maybe there will be no sports.
Right.
That's a possibility too. But I mean, I think we need to think about all of those things. If we're limiting exposure, we need to limit kids don't need to be coming back to the building.
Well, and that's a board
anyway.
decision, in my opinion. If we go virtual 1 day, then the school is closed that day.
Right.
I mean, we're trying to clean it better, you know, hit those touch points more thoroughly. I mean, we're gonna do that anyway, but.
Right.
And we don't know what's gonna happen with
No, we don't.
WIAA sports, but Mrs. Thompson and I had a very nice discussion earlier today, and our kids are so out of shape right now. They need the interaction, they need to be running, they need the conditioning, they need their sports, their friends. They need that togetherness right now. And if they never play a game, oh well,
Right, they're
Exactly.
they still need,
They
you
can
know,
interact with each other. as
And
well, too.
that's what we had kind of talked about in the restart meeting too, that it might end up being more like an intramural type program where
And
you
I'm sure
play
the
right within the school, but the conditioning and all the prep for sports can still be done. The skills teaching, but the actual,
And do it in smaller groups and, more control.
and then, so that would give teachers more prep time, which we do want to advocate. It does go against the all day, every day as much as possible. But again, this is only for the high school. And having said that, you know, perhaps there's a high school, I know one of our teachers had 0 kids signed up for their class. So that teacher would have free that hour, and they could go down to an elementary and sub for that elementary teacher for that hour. And the next week they could sub for somebody else for an hour. So it's the idea that we're all pitching in to help everybody else. And just because you don't have kids in your room right now doesn't mean that you get the whole day free. You are now going to help out your fellow teachers.
And you know, when I think of equity with the middle and elementary, I would probably plan for an extended Friday where, you know, or during the day. So maybe sixth grade, the two sixth grade group, somehow we would get, so those teachers would also have additional prep time because they're going to have virtual kids too. You know, all the way through, we have people across all grades that have chosen virtual initially. So
Yeah.
that's something that we will keep in mind, is that equity.
So the barriers, again, there's some daycare issues. If we don't have school, we don't know where the kids are going to go. Or if we have school for the young ones and we send the high schooler home, you know, is there somebody watching that high schooler? So we could potentially say, all right, we'll take all the kids that need to be supervised. So a parent says, no, my kid needs to be in school every day, all day. So on that day that we pick, we'll just put them in like the cafeteria. And they can just work. All the teachers are here. Everything's still going on, but they'll just work in the cafeteria and be supervised there by a parent or something while the teachers are in their classrooms teaching. So if there's a need for a parent to have their child here, your daycare won't go less, you know, it's really hard to find daycare for one day a week. And you're not going to want middle school or high schoolers to have daycare per se anyway. But I know a couple of them, they need to be here.
And they would be able to Zoom from the cafeteria.
Correct. Just like the other kids would.
And we can support the Zoom for potentially half or more of our district.
That was asked of Adam way long ago. Yep, we've added WAPs, they've upped something.
We even have a capability like in the courtyard now, might not be, no, he put it in 2 weeks ago. So, you know, slowly but surely we've been getting that done. That does help the parents that don't have great Wi-Fi on the virtual days. They can just send their kid here, and the kid doesn't necessarily have to be here all day if the parent wants them in here from 8 to noon. And that's okay with the parent that the kid's only here for those 4 hours. We're okay with that. We're just another place for the kids to be able to go. And then maybe that's the day when the kid's like, I really need to work one-on-one with my teacher. Maybe I can come in during that prep time and the teacher will let me work with them. It does save on busing for the high schoolers. I wouldn't say 20% quite, because we're going to have middle schoolers and elementary kids on the bus.
So that was if we did it K-12, for K-12.
And then we can then clean more, and it wouldn't be such a quick rush. And then it also gives the teachers the prep time. So before I do anything else, I will ask if there's any questions from anybody.
How much chaos is there going to be if this all goes away and then we're back to normal?
Being COVID?
Yeah. I mean, just,
That's a very optimistic view.
that's my life. I mean, it'd be pretty crazy, like, 'cause you guys have spent a lot of time.
Well, it would be pretty crazy, but
I'm just
It'd
kidding.
be welcomed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd be like, woo-hoo, go to all your classrooms. That's awesome.
Today's a free for all. Just go. All right.
I mean, this is great. And the segregation, we are also using the same bathrooms, correct?
so
They'll be segregated, but
We've got a plan, and Frank is drafting it right now. His goal was to clean the bathrooms every hour. I said that's a little optimistic. Maybe we say 4 times a day, and that way if somebody gets sick. We're also talking maybe about either hiring somebody during the day, just for a couple hours every day to help him with the cleaning, moving somebody from nights to days.
be a good idea to put hand sanitizer stations outside the bathroom for lazy hand washers who just kind of, and then on their way out, they can do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
We
Like,
do have 3 ordered, mobile ones that are on a stand, like they have at the fairs that you can just walk up and.
okay,
So when the little ones go outside, we'll make sure that we, when they're having recess, they all go outside. When they come back in, everybody sanitizes. If they go to the bathroom, then they need to wash their hands, and it's only good to do that once every 3 times. So once you 3 sanitizing, and then you need to wash, otherwise you'll just all stick. So
Well, the other thing too, we have to be more mindful of, they should be sanitizing before and after going into the room. Just like you do when you go to chats or wherever you go, that's the reason that sanitizers are, and so we're gonna have to encourage and maybe stand there watching. I mean, if we're going to really like go back to normal, everybody has to do what they gotta do.
So is there a reason why we're not considering the whole school 4 days and 1 day home?
I would like to see that only for equity, but high
Well-
school is the bigger.
Right, but that's because then a lot of these things could be possibly addressed a little better even at the elementary.
I mean, you said we're gonna do another survey. Could that be something we ask in the survey? I understand daycare is really hard to get for certain folks. You also have simply groups where if the high schooler's home, are they driving that kid back and forth to school anyway? Like, could we do, and maybe is there an option where those kids could still come that have to be here? Like, could that be part of the survey?
Yep.
possibly?
What about the instance, say like you have parents that start work early, but need to come here and they rely on the bus to get here. They have to make it down 1 day.
Well, the buses would still run.
Would they still run?
Yes.
It would have less.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on how you do it. If we're gonna go the route where you can come if you need to, then we're gonna have to run the buses. I don't know if we have to run them all though. Depends on how many kids, but.
Yeah, 'cause you might not, because the parent might be off that day, so they could probably call and say, hey, my kid can stay home today on that particular day, that there is no school.
I'd hope that we would let it be known early enough that they'd have time to find childcare, whether it's the daycare or the neighbor lady or grandma can do 1 day a week, versus 5 days a week,
Well, it just seems like with the 4 days, we talked about it at the restart meetings, we've talked about a soft start, that we're gonna educate the first week for sure, on all the X's and circles and everything else. But would it make more sense to start 4 days and work up to 5 than do the 5 and just be so overwhelmed that it can't happen, and then, then you don't have the time that you're giving that parent, say it would be Wednesday, we would pick, just throw that day out there. If they knew that ahead, where if all of a sudden we get here full-time and it's
then you
just,
gotta back off,
then you gotta back off,
and it's a short notice.
yeah.
And you could do like a month of 4 days, and then with the goal of 5 days.
Yeah.
And if the numbers stay low in the county or the, area, and parents are feeling more comfortable that we're doing a good job of keeping kids clean and safe.
And I mean, we also have to, kids, for sure. We also have to think about our staff. This is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
another good idea about doing the 4 days and the 1 day right from the start at least is so that the kids who were planning to be in school all the time and not do virtual at least understand how the virtual works. And say the cases go up, or
Right.
as I mentioned at the last board meeting, we have a snow day. You can still be learning from home on the snow day.
Right.
If you know how the virtual works, but if you're always in school and you haven't had any experience with the virtual, you're gonna be overwhelmed, you're not gonna learn anything that day anyway.
Right.
So it could be a good learning experience so they know what they're doing.
And I know a lot of schools, after we had that cold winter, was that 2 winters ago or whatever, they planned for last winter to be flipped. Like, snow day, no snow day, you're home learning. It's just, you turn on, flip the switch, now we're online. And they had to, like Reedsburg had to plan 3 full days of instruction for that. Independent days, So they weren't like tied into, yesterday we did this. They're just independent learning days, standalone days, so.
The
Yeah,
other
and then
thing
you
we,
don't have to worry about minutes as much.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did also talk about maybe starting on Tuesday with just the freshmen and the sophomore. Get them a little get acclimated, get the teachers a little bit more ready, and then the next day juniors and seniors come in addition. So that, you know, we can get a little more routine. This is 6 feet. Do you know what 6 feet is? You know, get some yardsticks out, kind of a thing. And, you know, just again, because part of the high school, you know, I'm an adult now, you can't tell me what to do. And they know everything, right? So,
I
yeah,
do like that idea, Linda, of, that's a better soft start, I think, is to ease into
I
it.
think we should consider it. I mean, it'd be kind of the same planning that you're kind of already doing. You know, maybe you need to survey your elementary and middle school staff and see how they feel. Maybe they'd like the 5 days a week, but I think it's gonna be overwhelming.
I'm gonna just go out, guess, no, it's with the virtual component of it and doing it more online than we're used to. Yeah, 4 days would be better.
I like the Wednesday, the mid,
Because then it would be,
the clean, the deep clean.
and the kids
If
wouldn't be
possible.
separated that long a time, then it would be,
I don't really want to set up a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, my vote is for the 4 days also.
Wednesday.
I mean, I just threw that day out there because we usually don't have a lot of sports stuff anyway. I mean, I don't think there's gonna be any CCDs or any of that kind of stuff, but we would still stick with our schedule, so Wednesday could just be a day of.
Well, like Rhonda said, you know, 2 days you're wearing masks for 8 hours or whatever.
Right,
And one day you're
nice to
not, you're
breathe.
home and then do it again, you know.
okay, so in the survey, and again, we're probably gonna work on that this week. Ease it into the school year, talking about, so you want me to ask the parents and the teachers if they want 2 days on, 1 day off?
I mean, yeah, I guess you can open it up, but I would.
Well, I think Julie,
I wouldn't let them pick the day.
No.
There's too many choices.
I think I'm
So many, like, you'll get so many answers
But
with
open it
that.
up maybe.
why don't we just make option B 4K12
Yeah.
instead of only high school?
That's, okay with that.
And then make Wednesday the day off. I mean, if that's our consensus here, if we give everybody a choice of all those 5
Right.
days, you're gonna have so many different answers, it's not gonna.
Right.
Some decisions just have to be made.
Right.
Well, and I think as far as education, the Wednesday's the best day because all of a sudden you start having 3-day weekends and
And then kids
that
are going.
day might not be an
Yeah.
education day at all. So
Exactly.
Right.
this way it's,
And I mean, I think it's important to remember that we can have the best plan in the world, and when things actually start, staff, students, parents,
Right.
all of us, admin, we all have to be flexible and do what's best for the kids, but we have to get something down, or otherwise it's gonna be chaos.
and this would give parents time to figure out that Wednesday.
Right. So are you thinking then, Linda, no kids in the building that day?
Well,
Unless.
ideally,
special
because
circumstances.
of all the other financial, and it's not about finances, but we are taking on a big hit with a lot of things. I mean, we got $40,000, whoop-de-doo. But when you're talking about extra staff and
Yeah.
everything else,
Long-term.
if we could not have to run the buses, that would be really good, but we can't have kids out there that need to be somewhere
So
alone.
special
So-
circumstance only.
Then, yeah, we could still do the deep cleaning if they're just gonna keep them in the commons, so that piece of it could still happen on Wednesdays.
What bus drivers think about 4 days instead of 5?
Well,
Well,
I think their money will get made up because we might be having
multiple routes.
multiple routes, that's on here also. So they might be making the same amount of money 4 days a week. If we can't have 70 kids on the bus, even if we
Absolutely.
mask them
That's a
all.
good point.
Yeah.
So,
It'll look a little different, but I think we got a plan figured out. Talk
Well,
about,
and if we were thinking about hiring someone to come help clean, you know, maybe a part of a day, a bus driver could come for a couple hours.
I mean, everybody has, we've talked about this with the restart, with the staff that have been part of that meeting. You're not just gonna have one cap. You're gonna have multiple, and that's the only way it's gonna work.
Being willing to switch caps.
Right,
And we put one on, nope, not that one.
not today.
And there is nothing unique about our district. Every district is going through this right now, so
Yeah.
everyone needs to be flexible and willing to help. With appreciation, of course, but
Sometimes you just gotta get dirty and
we're
get it
all
done.
in it together, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so by the time we have our next meeting, August 10th, I believe it is, we will probably have it narrowed down to, from the survey results, we'll share the survey results and you guys will be able to pick from that. Does anybody else have any questions about our,
Are we deciding now with the board which option?
I would like to hear from the community,
Yeah.
I would like to hear from the
Okay.
teachers, the parents before I decide.
Okay.
So there'll be no action at this point on.
I have a
go ahead.
question. This is Angela Tudo. I was just wondering, I want to be clear on the options for virtual learning. Will we have the option of full-time virtual learning if we need it?
Yes. Yes, did you hear me, Angela? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much.
All right.
I have a question. I just lost my signal a little bit, so I'm not sure if this question was asked, but it's, when I got in, you guys were talking about, which days you were going to do virtual and which days that you were not going to do virtual. Is there an option for the middle school to stay home and do virtual 5 days a week if they choose to do that?
Yes.
Yes, all the parents have the option as you know, you're the parent, you get to choose. We are going to have completely virtual. If you choose to do that as a parent, that is your option. You can do that with part of your kids or all your kids.
Okay.
What we're talking about is for the vast majority of kids that are planning on being in the building all day, every day, what's the best for them? So if you're going to do virtual from the get-go, awesome. The teachers know that. We're going to have some kids that don't ever enter the building.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
That was Carrie Olson, so.
And I think, Julie, we had said possibly if they make that decision, that it will be for a 9-week period.
Right.
Semester.
For the parents, so that they can't say, oh, well, I need them here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna,
Quarter, 9 weeks, sorry.
Okay.
So if you choose face-to-face, you're in it for the quarter. Unless something were to happen at home that changed that, but we're not jumping in and out.
it's really hard on everybody.
Right. And that's what most districts are doing, are deciding which way you're going. And
So that needs to be on the survey and explained.
I have a document already to go that's got those.
I have a question from the teacher's point of view, and maybe this has been addressed in another meeting, I missed it, but this is Melissa Sprecher. If we have kids that are virtual learning at home and we're teaching as well, is the plan that we're going to be basically like on a Zoom meeting with those kids, or are they just going to be getting, like, are they going to be part of the lecture? Are they going to be part of the discussions? Or is it basically they're going to sit down with their computer and look at what's on the screen and not be part of that, like that classroom interaction?
So Melissa, the idea is that the kids could potentially live stream. I wouldn't advocate for a 45-minute lesson where the kid has to be there the whole entire time, but, you know, because we should teach a little, then we should let them work in teams and stuff. So the idea is that you should always plan all of your lessons to be able to be virtual or universally designed for all kids. And then once we learn a little bit more about that, and we'll learn some of that through Schoology and the digital learning systems that we bought into, that will help you as a teacher teach more robustly right from the get-go. So instead of like, okay, I'm gonna talk about all nouns and here's a worksheet, that's not a very good online lesson. And some of that training is coming and some of it is through Schoology also.
Well, and I think part of her question, Julie, is that yes, the kids are going to have to be in the classroom virtually every day, every class. It's not going to be like it was at the end of this year.
Right,
Yes,
so
that
I'm
was my
envisioning,
question.
say, you know, my kids get up and they get on the computer at 8 a.m. so they can log into their first hour class, like that?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we know that there's always technical errors and stuff that happens. But part of Schoology, anybody who's taken an online class with this syllabus, there's accountability built into every hour, every day, every week. That's part of the learning that's happening for staff and students, right?
Right. So an example of that would be a discussion question. So the teacher would stop and say, all right, everybody on your computers, answer this question or ask one question. And then after 5 more minutes, they would talk about those questions. All right, now everybody has to answer 2 questions. And then you go through and read all the questions and then you give your answer to them. And that's live time right there. That's learning and interacting with the subject matter.
So one thing, Linda, or everybody on the information for parents, if you choose all virtual, as a parent, there's certain responsibilities that you're agreeing to. You're agreeing that you have enough Wi-Fi to support it and that you are the learning coach, like an adult in the family is the learning coach. If it's a high school kid, obviously they don't need to be watched, but the parent is legally bound for that student's instruction. And so when they sign that document that says, yep, my student was engaged in 6 hours of class that day, they're being honest. So there's things that are going to put in place to ensure that they are fully aware if you have bad Wi-Fi, virtual is really not an option for you unless there's a need because of the family situation. And then we have to do it case by case, but I've got a document working on to lay it out. Same with if it's in class, you know, these are your responsibilities because it's different. We're cohorting, completely different than we're used to. So.
But they would still be able to drive into the parking lot and download what went on that day.
Yep.
So there's, you know, if they can't get it at their home, the kids
Right,
might be a day behind, but
Well,
there's no reason
kind of,
to not
except that
have
they
it.
should be, but like, say at my house, by the end of the month, if we're Zooming every day for 8 hours, by mid-month, I can maybe open an email. What I can do is I can call in and be part of that classroom on the phone.
If you still have a landline.
Well, even if you have.
If you have a cell phone, yeah.
Yep.
too.
And you
Yep,
can-
doesn't matter.
you
It's,
can-
the numbers are always
Zoom
at the top of the
You know,
agenda.
the only thing you
Okay.
need to have is long distance. So, you know, you have to, it's a Chicago phone number for Zoom, you know, for
Okay.
Central time, but yeah. So like Emma is in a thing for Partners for Prevention tomorrow. It's a nationwide thing at the high school. There's thousands of kids that are Zooming in and she can't go tomorrow. She's calling in and can be part of the discussion and have up the static document, you know, like a Google Doc that's shared, so she can still interact.
We're all a work in progress on
It
this.
is,
Can I say I love the option B, but with 2 younger kids, one thing that I might appreciate if we did go 4 days a week would be to just have that 5th day of virtual focus on core classes for the younger elementary, middle school kids, just like the reading and not any of the extra stuff that sometimes comes home because it could be overwhelming for parents.
Are you saying less than 5th grade? When you say
5th and under, you think?
Yeah, I think the elementary students, I think that just, if they're gonna be virtual, just core important classes.
And so they might have some, like, you know, like we had office hours this fall, so they might do like, okay, from 8 to 10, we're gonna have our reading and I'm gonna have these groups, you know, and schedule it. And this time from 10 to 11 is math.
Right, that would be perfect.
You know, science maybe, and probably those 3, because social studies usually gets built into reading, but
Yeah.
yeah, we would focus on the core.
Yeah, that's another thing to consider though, is that doing this day, we're not giving parents a choice on that 5th day. We only say we're having kids in the building 4 days a week unless there's a special circumstance.
Right.
we also need to teach to that, because you may have a high school student home with 2 elementary students.
Right.
And they may not be able to log in right now. We have to also be flexible ourselves with that.
Right.
Instruction, I mean, there should be instruction, but we may have to learn
Change a little
ourselves.
bit.
Yeah, because we're not giving a person, in that option, we are not giving anyone a choice unless there's a special circumstances, the way I'm hearing it at least.
Say that once more. For the 5th day?
For the 5th day. If we're saying the school is gonna, no students.
Well, I did write
Unless-
special circumstance in the comments, so I did write
Right.
that down.
Right. But that could apply to every elementary kid.
But right, some may be home
Instruction.
with an older high schooler or middle schooler.
Sure.
And how
So-
the parent helping with that instruction, you know, other
Oh, yeah, I
families
get
may,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
families may be able to work it out, but they're not, the parent might not be able to be there. They might be in daycare that day.
Yeah.
So it has to be something that is very, you know, maybe they bring that back to school the next day. Maybe, you know, work, instruction, but it might not be live.
For elementary primarily.
Yeah.
I can see that. You just can't have packets again. 'Cause- I mean, packets are good, they work really well.
Sure.
But it's not new learning.
No, no, it's not. I mean, maybe it's a question they take home that day, you know, something in your house, you know, you have to maybe think out of the box, but you can't hold people to something we're deciding for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
If not, we're gonna move on to 6.2. Discussion and possible action on changing to all-day 4K to 2 days a week.
So this is from Brittany. She and I talked a few weeks ago, you know, because ideally half day is best, but that's not best in COVID because there's too much planning.
Yeah.
So she had proposed that we do 2 full days with Wednesday as the middle day, so the AM group would come Monday, Tuesday, clean really heavy, PM group Thursday, Friday. So that's the proposal.
It also gives us a little extra leeway in the cleaning. If for some reason on Tuesday nights, they can't get everything done, they can ignore that room and go in Wednesday to clean it.
So that's the proposal that I'd like the board to approve.
I'll move to allow the changing of all-day 4K to 2 days a week.
A motion by Mr. Brisboy, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mrs. Rowe, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 6.3, discussion and possible action on fall 2020 athletics.
So I'm not telling you anything you probably don't know, but they did move. Cross country does get to start on August 17th. The other 2 sports that we have are football and volleyball. They need to wait until August 7th. September 7th, thank you very much, September 7th. I do have a question. So typically we would put all the kids for cross country in a van and then take them to cross country. Are you guys okay with the cross country students?
How many do we have this year?
But we have most of the team.
Yeah,
Most of the boys, anyway. It's hard to say. I just,
like 5 or 6?
yeah, last year. I mean, I'm going off of what was last year.
And I'm thinking that's a,
12-person van, 10-person van, how big's that van?
We have a regular van.
we have a regular van,
So an 8-person van.
right? So you can't socially distance. So
And are you saying we have 5 boys? Is that what I'm hearing?
we don't know exactly all the numbers.
That's what I mean. Is that, are we gonna have to put them on bus anyway? Because they're not gonna fit in the van?
I don't know if we
Well-
would have a bus to drive them over there every night.
They'll all be seniors except one. Right?
So they can drive themselves.
We have policy
If
though
we-
that does
no,
not allow
policy doesn't
that.
allow it. We have to make an exception.
That is putting a can.
Because then if anything happens on the way to that
Right.
practice.
Because then why can't we drive to football practice? Or, you know, why can't I drive myself to the football game?
Right.
Right.
That's not exactly.
All right, so I will talk to,
So you could ask Rose if they were all to mask. I thought our van was,
it's an 8
it's not a
passenger.
bigger?
It's,
No, you can't have a bigger one.
There's
And our
no,
van driver can't drive the little school bus?
How many
You have to have a
coaches?
CDL.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bus.
see, though.
Is it just one coach, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the coaching staff for cross country, because they're not.
Well, usually
There's
they
a
go
curriculum
there,
center.
the coach is there.
We don't have.
Yeah.
And so there's not an extra person. Coach is not on the bus or on the van, on the vehicle.
Just whatever.
There's
they
no
go.
At
one
least
that could
historically, that's
provide
been-
that instruction here at all either.
Last year, we had a pair that drove, correct? Drove
I'm not
the van?
sure.
Miss Barron's.
Mrs. Barron's drove quite a bit.
Okay. I thought.
I think that was probably the year
Something else.
before, maybe. It's changed. I drove
Any
it a couple times.
situation where you can sign a waiver to mask up to ride from here to there, is there any?
Well, we're gonna put them on a school bus.
Right.
So,
If we put them on a bus, they will socially distance, but it's just, that's the question. Is there
Yeah.
a bus or is it a van that takes them over?
Well, if there's more than 7 kids total, there has to be a bus.
Yes.
So if we have already 5,
okay, I'll have to, so the question is how many?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I find that out, if Rose is okay with them all masking, you know,
Question
van.
is-
Well, and I think they mask anyway. That's our,
Yeah.
gonna be our school policy, so.
Okay. So I mentioned this earlier that we're probably gonna do some conditioning, not necessarily volleyball or football practice, but conditioning for all the sports. We're doing weightlifting right now. We wanna make sure that the weight room is open and that the kids are coming and feeling comfortable. I love it when I see them running around the building without their masks. Eventually, we'll have to have them
outside.
They're outside, but when school starts, we'll be masked everywhere. But for right now, if they're outside, we're allowing them to not be masked because they're social distance. So they need it, so.
So clean's the weight room, like between, and is there a protocol? I just want.
Right. The football coaches have protocols set up, so they have cleaning supplies down
So if
there.
I am on a piece of equipment and I go to the next one, it's already been cleaned before I get there?
I don't remember the protocol, I don't have it memorized, but Coach Clary had it all figured out and they have supplies down there to do that.
So when school starts, even if they're working out outside, they have to wear masks. Is that what I'm hearing? Because didn't we say during ed class, if they're socially distanced,
It'd still be masked though.
will they? They're
Outside?
not gonna get a break outside when they're socially
Because that's-
distanced?
I thought you said earlier that they wouldn't need it outside,
Yeah.
If they're that,
Breathe
that they can
fresh
go out there
air.
and-
they're that
as long as they stay
distance
far enough
apart.
away.
Right, they need mask breaks.
Right.
That's gonna be the big thing. So
Yeah, that's
if
gonna
Linda
be
wants to
the-
be a rogue and not social distance, as a teacher, I would make her wear a mask.
Right.
Force it out. If you can't, I mean, it's safety.
Right.
It's no different than.
But
you
it's-
can't see people
That would be a great, I feel like that would be a great
I mean, it's
Hear
pretty
it.
simple. Don't have to wear a mask. Just stay away from each other.
backup.
So, and then,
Your mask on.
then
Sounds
with
simple, but-
football, there's absolutely no non-conference, is what I heard with WIA.
But I think each conference has
I
to
haven't
be.
heard- I haven't heard
there's
that. That was Big
no-
Ten.
Big 8 is like
That was-
That was the big.
That was,
one.
Okay.
that's a Big Ten college conference. They did away with non-conference, but I have not heard.
Right,
It was talked about.
It was talked about.
Nothing's been,
The conference still has to make.
So one
that the
starts
conference
9/7 and that's when games start?
no.
No, that's.
now you have to practice for 10 days for football in order to have a game.
But they're already.
So right there
practicing
takes
in the
care
gym.
of.
That's a camp.
Three of our
That's a
non-conference.
camp.
Oh,
Volleyball
okay.
camp. What'd you say, Randy?
Then what about
By
the
the
scrimmage
7th of
that's
October,
scheduled for the 7th
September, we
with,
lost 3 non-conference games.
Right.
so what about the scrimmage September 7th with
That would have to
Richland
be
Center?
That's done.
That would
Yeah,
not be, well, that was on the radio.
Yeah, they did say they were gonna do.
Coach Clary had it on the radio that we'd be
I mean,
scrimmaging.
that could be the first day of practice. They
So-
could be doing flag football, they could be doing all, we don't have the specifics, but
Right,
there will not be a game or a practice before September 7th.
correct.
You know, just like the volleyball team, I think you have 3 practices and you can have a scrimmage as something like that.
A scrimmage.
A scrimmage, that's not a scheduled game. And,
But not on the first day of.
right, and I think before the Ridge and Valley meets, we'd be cowboys to go out and make any sort of rules. I think that needs to be a group that they're doing together where we set anything in stone.
Well, and Ridge and Valley is now kind of broken up because some of them are 8-man and
For
some of us are
football, but
still,
not for volleyball,
not for volleyball.
basketball, or anything else.
Right.
That's
I'm just trying to get to the first day of school.
Is the WIAA considering this a fluid thing like we are, or they have said September 7th, that's it, we made our decision?
No, it's all.
I don't know.
But you don't know if they're gonna come back and revisit it. I have not
Exactly.
heard
Right.
any indications of anything that they're gonna revisit.
So it feels final.
Well, right now,
I
I
don't think
think,
anything
I think
is-
from a, if I was a coach right now, I would say right now, this is the final until somebody changes. This is the end
Right.
line or the goal line until somebody moves it on you.
Nice sports humor.
Yeah, but, but
I
that's,
see you.
the WIA just doesn't seem to have it as, you know, I know. we look at
They
it
don't
from-
want to.
Yeah, they don't want to.
And it's a financial, I
Yep,
mean,
oh, yeah.
Well, and it's, I mean,
they have no money coming in. They didn't have any money coming in last spring. I mean, that's,
but I mean, we're not, I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we don't say that's important to a lot of kids.
Oh, yeah.
right,
You know?
it is.
I mean, but that's why I think this conditioning outside while we can is good. Probably better than.
Okay.
I mean,
Is there
I'd
any
love to
word
see
of
all
middle
the
school
kids are coming
sports?
Because
Oh, middle school sports, that was the other
They're awesome.
question we had.
I can't wait for education, but some of them come for sports and they get the education. That's where we get them.
Yeah, middle school sports, we have not really discussed yet. I mean, yes, it's important for those kids also. I don't even know if we have enough coaches hired at this point.
And that, they don't start until school starts, correct? That's
Correct.
not, that wasn't a pre-school.
Well, somebody, I asked that, it seemed like they
Well,
started.
volleyball we did the week before, and then football I did too.
With football and volleyball being pushed back to the 7th, I would assume that middle school
Yeah.
would be pushed back as well, so there's probably time.
At least till the 7th, if not a week later.
Right.
And, yeah, and if they, and, well, middle school too is a WIAA, right? That's,
They're
you
not
just
safe.
go by
They're not.
the rules.
No.
Yeah, they're not.
We're not
So I
saying-
mean, we could do some kind of conditioning thing too after school with them if we wanted. Break them up small groups, yes.
They would just have to figure out where the space would be.
Yep.
Because the varsity and junior varsity teams are taking up an awful lot of space. So that would be the issue.
And they can't be
where they could
coaches.
be.
Huh?
They can't have contact with the coaches
I mean,
as of like August 8th. Middle,
no, that's middle school is not
Middle school,
WIAA.
No,
Yeah.
it's not, no.
okay.
So that's outside that rule, but I mean, just to just to get them in shape, or just to slim us all down.
So we probably really can't take any action. Our action would be that we approve that they start the training, or that we don't even need that, do
Or that
we?
we continue to follow what our conference and the WIA is saying. We can keep tabs on it. I mean, that's all we can do.
Because the other thing that was said was there's several officials that have said they won't.
Sure.
So
That could be.
they're gonna have to scramble to find, I had heard 50, there's about 50 and there's about 20 out there that are saying they won't.
I think there's, I mean, when that time comes, if it comes where they would wipe stuff clean, I think as a community and for our kids, there are things we can do.
Right.
Whether it's a parent putting on a mask and officiating the girls playing each other for volleyball or the
Yeah.
boys. There's a lot that can be done.
Yeah.
If traditional things aren't gonna happen. Even if our conference decides we can still help our kids be engaged and not take something they love away, we can work
To do
together.
it safely, but
Yeah.
rules
Yeah,
is
we
guidance.
talked at the restart, we talked about like if it ends up being like intramurals.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I'm gonna give them as much as
You play your
possible.
court. You've been in the same room with that group, now we'll play some volleyball.
Yeah.
Boys volleyball should be, we should have more of that.
They do, they love it.
Are there any questions out there? You Zoomers?
So do we need a motion to approve fall 2020 athletics as set by WIAA?
I don't Bridget.
I don't know that we do, because
No.
WIA hasn't pushed it back, and we'll be in compliance with that. But the
Yeah.
goal right now is to comply with what WIA is, or
Okay.
mandated.
I guess we could have that motion that we will comply with the
WIA.
most recent date.
I wouldn't take any action.
No, because
No.
what if they come back and say, it's all we're all fine, let's start. You know what I mean?
Then we gotta comply with that.
Yeah, then we gotta comply with that.
Okay, so
Okay.
there'll be no action. All right, new business. Discussion and possible action on accepting the policy. 7.1.1, 654.1.01.
All right, so
Okay,
sexual harassment has come out with new regulations. These are all from the lawyers. I really didn't do anything. This one's not even got the heading on it yet. So 654.101 is an employee Title IX sexual harassment policy. We have 204.03 as a policy on sexual harassment that will eventually be phasing out, and this will replace it. But that's a different discussion. We needed to have certain things in place. By adopting this one and modifying some of the other ones, we will be in compliance, and then we'll make it look pretty when it's not like this is due by August 14th. So
You're saying we have to have something in place, so we're gonna put the new one in place. We're not gonna go a period of time with no policy.
correct. So we're kind of, some of them are repetitive, 203, which is down a couple. And then, so yeah, I don't even 100% know. I do know that they put in more safeguards for employees that complain. They put in more safeguards for students that complain, but I don't know 100% all the ins and outs of it because this hasn't been my focus because like I said, I gave it to the lawyers. They gave it back. It looks like this. So,
I'm not gonna argue with the lawyer.
Yeah.
so do we do these item by item? Is that how you want it?
yes, please.
Okay, so is there a motion to accept the sexual harassment employee policy as established by our lawyers?
Yeah, I so moved.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Blazinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Variance. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.1.2, 653.1, equal opportunity employment.
This one is, we've had this one before. They just changed the title of it. We changed Brooke Hackle is now our Title IX person. And you can see the what they've added, notice and implementation, and then they reference legal things.
Make a motion to approve the equal opportunity employment policy.
A motion by Mrs. Blazinski for the equal opportunity. A second by Mr. Manning. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
7.1.3, 654.1, employee or staff non-discrimination grievance procedure.
So this is how, if they feel that they have been discriminated against, this is how they would grieve it. As you can tell, he's got some stuff crossed off and some stuff added. Once we adopt the policies, then I'll go through and make sure the number, there's like right in the middle of 3 lines from the top of that first paragraph. I'm sorry, 3 lines from the bottom. There's a blank. So I have to fill it in yet. Again, this is modifying a policy.
Is there a motion to accept the changes,
I also
modifications?
move.
Motion by Mr. Brisboy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Rowe. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.1.4, form, employee or staff non-discrimination grievance form.
We don't, this is actually not a policy, I'm sorry, this is a form, it's a procedure. I just wanted you to know that we're changing it to fit the policy.
So no action is needed.
No action is needed on that one.
7.1.6, 654.2.01, title.
Skip 204.03.
One is the mask. The glasses are getting steamy. Okay, where are we? 7.1.5, 204.03, policy on sexual harassment.
This is our original policy. You can see where it's referenced. They didn't change anything. They referenced the new policy, which you just approved.
So this will go away?
It eventually, not right now. We're just covering all our bases right now.
So then there's really no action needed on that.
Well, we're
There's a
just
change.
modified
There's a change
policy.
to modified. I thought that's what we
So we
voted
got
on
an
up here.
overlap for a
Okay.
while.
All right, is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Brisboy, is there a second? Second by Mrs. Rowe, all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, now,
All right, now we're on to the student, except for one of them in the middle here. So these are the same things, only because of the law, they had to be separated from adults and students. So this is the recommended attorney student sexual harassment policy.
Anything majorly different from the staff one, the employee one?
Not really, it's just for the kids.
So it says
So,
parents a lot, I noticed as a difference, but otherwise I think it was pretty similar.
and again, this is a brand new policy. We've never had this one before.
I'll make a motion to approve the Title IX sexual harassment student policy.
motion by Mrs. Blazinski, is there a second? Second by Mr. Manning, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 7.1.7, harassment and or bullying.
The only difference on this one is that we added the change. Again, it's going to reflect the new policy. You hadn't approved it yet. You just did, as a matter of fact. And then we changed from district equity coordinator to Title IX. The rest of it is the same.
Is there a motion to approve those changes?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Blazinski, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brisboy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 7.1.8, 655, Ithaca School District Procedure for Non-Discrimination Statements.
And again, we had this, it's been tweaked to reflect, and it's for students.
Display our policy on the website. handbook.
And we're gonna have to take many of these and link them in our handbooks also, but I needed a couple weeks to get these done, and then I'll put them in the policy meeting.
With all that free time you have?
Yeah. There could have been better timing on this law, I just gotta say.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Rowe, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Manning, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.1.9, 653, Ithaca Student Equal Educational Opportunity.
So again, this was like the equal opportunity for employment, this is the kid version.
I also move approve.
Motion by Mr. Brisboy, is there a second? Second by Mr. Manning. all in-
Hang on, Julie, does this need to be changed to Brooke? Did you still?
Yes, it will have to be, sorry.
Well, then I noticed later in the document, I had the same question when I was reading it, but later in the document, it references the district superintendent a lot.
Okay,
So if you're gonna change the name, then you also need to change that wording.
okay,
That's
thank
why I
you.
was like, oh, it shouldn't be Julie, and as I kept reading, I'm like, oh, I guess it should be Julie.
Yep, I'll make a note. Oh, Kathleen, are you making a note?
Can we approve it with those changes?
You
Yes.
can approve it
Okay.
with the changes.
Yeah, I'd like
Those
to.
changes. I'll amend my motion to approve the amended changes. Move to approve of the amended changes.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brisboy, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Manning with the changes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, this is the form. You do not need to approve it.
Wait, did we do 7.1.10? Is that the one we just did?
Mhm.
No, I didn't cross it off, sorry. Okay.
And again, you need to know that the form changed, but this is not, the form isn't policy. Wait,
No, Julie, this is 7.1.10, we haven't done yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought, okay.
okay, somehow that's not on my minutes here, so I'll find them.
7.1.10, 654.2, Student Non-Discrimination Grievance Procedure.
It just includes the sexual harassment part.
Yep,
I'll make a motion to approve the student non-discrimination grievance procedure.
Motion by Mrs. Blazinski, second by Mr. Manning. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and we saw the form. Any questions on the form? We will move on to 7.1.12, 341, student advancement.
So I gotta say it, I got a wrong number on here, so you'll see I already crossed it out and changed it. I apologize. I didn't realize that there was already a 341. This is for advancing students from, so they could skip classes, like basically. So middle school advancement means that a student shall pass over the regular highest level 8th grade in a middle school subject and take a high school course while still being considered an 8th grade student.
So then is the correct number 341 or 347?
347, I believe we're gonna make it. But I couldn't
Okay.
change the agenda. So I changed it on here.
Okay, so that motion would include the number change?
Yes, please.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Manning, is there a second? Second by Mrs. Rowe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.1.13, handbook addendum for COVID-related activities.
All right, so I'd like to add this to both the handbooks. What this specifies is it's giving the staff more explicit instructions on what to do when. This came from attorneys. So before arriving at a work site,
You're at a hard point where then you're considered fever because we all fluctuate.
right, employees are required to do the following. So they're supposed to monitor their health. And then number 2 is illness while at the work site. So I is monitor their health. They should be taking their temperature. If they have any symptoms, there's a list here. If they have chills, cough, shortness of breath. And then if they're still concerned, they should be, and it's linked here. And then if they have these symptoms, they should go get checked out first of all, because we want them to be safe and healthy. But they should stay away from their work site if they're diagnosed with COVID-19. So they might be sick, but if they go get checked out and they're told stay home, then that's addressed later. So, but if they feel that they're just, they get sick days, it's just being sick at this point. So I says that they should stay at home if they have COVID-19. So if you're,
Someone at home has it.
I'm sorry. I gotta get closer. My glasses are fogged up and dirty.
So in regarding exposure, is anybody else concerned we're gonna run out of teachers really fast?
Yes. But this, it specifies a little bit in here. So let's get through it and then please bring that back up.
That's another concern. We gotta work through what to do, so.
So if someone at home has COVID-19, but you're not been diagnosed and you don't have any symptoms, you should stay home from the work site. Because you have been,
You're a first contact.
you're a first contact, let's go, okay?
That's a diagnosed, not someone in your own thinking.
No.
Okay.
Right, if someone at your home has COVID and you live there too, you've been exposed. Unless you wear masks 24/7.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're on I. Stay home if directed to do so by a public health agency. So employees who have been instructed by a public health agency to self-isolate must stay home from the work site. So for example, somebody at your house was diagnosed, they're gonna say, all right, you're gonna stay home because you've been.
We actually experienced this in our household with Richland County. My husband was not diagnosed. He was a contact to someone who was diagnosed. It was like 2 weeks later.
Okay.
I was told I had to quarantine because I was next to my husband who has not had COVID and does not have COVID.
Yeah.
That is a little tricky to me because in that situation, if I was a teacher, I would have to stay home for 14 days because the county told me I had to, even though there was not a chance that I had COVID.
We're gonna listen to what the county says.
We're a public entity, we don't have a choice, unfortunately.
If a teacher's home and not sick, but is just quarantining because
They
they were
can still
exposed,
Zoom
they can
teach.
teach from home.
Correct.
Yes.
Didn't we talk about that, Kathleen?
Yeah,
They
and
can
that's-
still
that's-
be expected
Sorry
to
if I'm
teach.
skipping ahead.
That's addressed further in the,
Sorry,
No,
sorry.
I apologize.
That's okay.
because We just went through this.
I
and
know. and this is all new for everybody, so I know there's gonna be questions and what's gonna happen here and all that kind of stuff. So basically, IV, so it's 4, you're supposed to notify the human resources specialist, so that's Brooke for us. If it's I, or I. So under the families first, yeah, I know. Under the families first coronavirus emergency leave, family medical leave, or other applicable leaves provided by the handbook. So we have sick leave under attendance and leaves. It may be used upon request while an employee is staying home under sections I through III, consistent with the provisions of the law. Additionally, in this district's sole discretion, an employee may be permitted to work remotely under these circumstances. So if you're like, Julie, they're making me stay home, cool.
Because my husband was exposed.
Right.
So therefore, you're teaching virtually, we will have someone in your classroom supervising.
Okay. Then it talks about specific leave, so that's tab is wrong, but employees who are required to stay home under I through III must stay home and may not come to work until cleared to return to work as indicated. So again, you don't get to choose when you get to be released from quarantine. The public health does that. Then, if an employee shares that you've been diagnosed with COVID, the district will then inform public health officials because we are required by law. And then we will notify, however we have to, trying to maintain the confidentiality of the employee's medical information as directed by ADA. So we have to be careful because we can't say, oh yeah, Mrs. Rowe has COVID, so like, let's announce that all the Rowe kids have to go home. No, that's not how that works. We have to be very careful about, this is for adults though, so we don't need to worry about FERPA. But we do have to worry about HIPAA. All right, then if somebody becomes ill during the day, we're gonna have you go to the office, we'll call, or you will just say, I really need, Kathleen to come to my room, I'm not feeling well, and if we'll get you help. You can go drive yourself home, we'll call an ambulance, we'll do whatever we need to. 3, returning to work. An employee who intends to return to work following a COVID-19 related absence must tell us when you're coming, give us some notice, and then submit with your request to return a doctor's note certifying that you are fit for duty. So that's, you've been diagnosed, you're all better now. The doctor will write you a note that says you may now go to school and teach.
What if it's just the county telling you to stay home and you never had to see a doctor?
That's
Okay.
this is if you got diagnosed with COVID.
Okay.
But you can be positive tested by the county and not see a doctor.
That's
Then
true.
you would go back within
And
the
it doesn't-
county's guideline.
It doesn't say that, it just says when you intend to return to work.
I would
And
think
you have
you
to have
need a
that
negative
result.
test
It says,
to come back, wouldn't you?
or documentation from a public health official that the employee has complied with the instruction of the public health agency.
Like,
So if you-
it'll be an email from the.
So you might go
Right.
to the doctor, you might go, but you're supposed to, public or county health and follow their.
Okay. So in the event that the district has an individual with a suspected or confirmed case of COVID-19 in the district, we're going to call the county health department for direction. We might have to close down part of our workspace. Employees who work in that area or the building might be expected to continue working in another area in the remote district or work remotely, unless otherwise indicated by the district. Workspace relocation will be assigned by the district. So if for some reason we had something in the lower elementary, we might potentially still have high school because the lower elementary doesn't even use the same entrances and exits and stuff. We don't know, but whatever the public health department says goes. And then 5, In the event that a teacher is unable to provide instruction, the district will attempt to obtain a guest teacher to substitute. If the district is unable to find a guest teacher, other teachers may be asked to include students from the absent teacher's class into their own, or other teachers may be asked to fill in a classroom.
This is already in the handbook. You did the sign.
So just again, covering some of the bases. Now,
Brooke did send out a letter to all our subs asking them to contact.
dry mouth. So for those of you who did not hear what Kathleen just said, she said Brooke sent a letter out to all the subs to make sure that, to see if they would like to continue to be on the list. All right, questions?
My concern probably has more to do with my husband at home for 2 weeks.
I can't help you with that, I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
Anybody out there have any questions? And I just like this one because it's fairly simple. It's only 2 pages, heaven forbid. And it also gives me steps and directions. And it gives the teachers steps and directions. If you have a fever, you should be doing something. Stay at home and do something. Go get tested, whatever.
I don't, this is,
The policy, right? It's a handbook that-
okay,
I move to approve.
okay. A motion by Mrs. Rowe. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Variance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.2, discussion and possible action on accepting alternate open enrollment.
So we have one requesting to come in, but the child wants to come into 11th grade and it is full. One that wants to come in and the child is a senior, so they could come in. Then we have one that is out going to the Reedsburg School District. That child is a junior. And one asking to go, it's a high school, I don't remember what grade this child is in, but going out to a virtual school. And I would suggest that we recommend that we accept 3, and we'll have to say no to the one junior. Even though we're losing one, we're still not going down to 40.
So can, if through all of this and it's sending things out, if we would happen to lose a junior,
Yeah, if we have like 3 more juniors open and roll out,
then
we,
this could be revisited.
correct.
Well, what if
I
we
do
don't
feel,
have juniors who decide to do virtual?
Yeah.
Would that be a
That's-
possibility or no?
no, because they're still on our,
Yeah,
It's still
and then
enrolled.
if they come back for some reason.
I do,
Question, Julie, does that junior that wants in have siblings in the building?
yes, and they were here and left. And now they're coming back and there's not enough room for them. I feel bad.
I would, that's, I'm a bit.
Do we have exceptions for that?
There should be.
There really should be.
We, you,
We're gonna split up families between districts.
we just opened up a big can.
Yeah, I know.
Well, this particular child, the rest of the family stayed, this child left.
Yeah,
And now they wanna come
made that
back.
decision, and there's always that risk.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Right. I mean, if you do it for one, then you gotta,
I mean, we've had people trying, since I started, and this is my 4th year, trying to get into this junior class. It is full.
There's 45
5 now. Because we have to take them if they move in.
When they weren't here. I remember.
so is there a motion to accept the 3 and deny the 1?
Oh, no.
Can we go against the policy we established in January to only have 40 in a class? It is very tough. And I feel bad.
You say out loud that we run into this problem a lot. School. It's a great problem to have that we have too many
But you
kids.
can always, that 40 policy can't change.
Yeah.
Yes,
You could, and then something such as 160 in the high school or something to that effect.
Mhm.
But
Exactly.
what can we do here and now at this point? in
Right,
time?
if that's
Accept
not
or
on
deny.
So.
the-
I
At
don't
this
have-
point, with the way things are,
Do we have to make a motion?
Can we just read it?
Can we
just
revisit
table
it?
Well, but we have the ones that the three,
yes, we can.
is there an issue with the three?
No, none whatsoever. The 2 are out. That one is a junior, and I don't remember what this other kid is.
But the other three we're not, we don't have an issue with. Just the
Correct.
ones that come in.
2 out, 1 in then, and table the,
the one coming in is okay. It's done.
Yep.
Julie, do you have where you can share that policy?
yeah.
Because I would guess there's like a little saying that says, can be altered at board discretion. Can be.
I like Ron's suggestion.
Well,
160.
that is a thing to maybe really think about, because we don't even have all the juniors aren't in a classroom at one time. All the sophomores, their schedules are so, I mean, this year might be an exception where we're keeping them isolated, but they're not all together anyway.
It's easier when they get to high school anyway.
Right.
When they were
The idea
in middle
when they
school,
were
it was
in
just.
elementary,
Yeah.
if they wanted to.
Right.
Okay, so it is policy 424. Let me copy Control C, go to the board agenda. I'm gonna put it, can you see the word here?
Yep.
Okay.
You gonna link it there?
Yep, it's all linked. So I'm sharing my, oh, I gotta find the original.
Yeah.
Susan, Caitlin talked about coming, but she'd be in the junior class as well. Almost every year she's talked, right?
The last 2 or 3, maybe even 4.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Right here.
before, yeah.
It's right here. However, this delegation of authority shall not be construed to prohibit the DA from bringing any such decision or determination to the board as she deems necessary or prudent.
It still is dangerous making it per student, per class like that as well. That opens.
But that's a policy change overall. This is a one-time.
I'm gonna read that first.
So this is-
Something to the exceptions except the school board each January shall act upon.
Makes it feel good.
Okay, thank you.
The board authorizes
District.
to make all of the decisions that are necessary or permitted. However, it shall not be used to prohibit
Julie, what's in district high school?
Total.
Right now.
Our high school
One
limit
40.
total.
Oh, total right now,
36, 38.
we're close to 120.
So we have 37, 38.
No, you can leave it wide open.
Leave it,
You have a board.
okay.
Thank you, Julie.
Julie,
Yes.
my recommendation is to let them in, the more the merrier, because we don't know how many kids are going to be virtual yet. So it's not an issue of classroom space. And especially since we have their siblings here.
Well, and you guys, technically, this is an alternate open enrollment. Not open enrollment. It's alternate.
You did file papers within the guidelines, within the dates.
The time frame as well.
So they left and they did right on time.
So we have a lot less authority, not authority, a lot. Open enrollment seems they have more structure to it than alternate open enrollment. Because right now a kid can apply just about anywhere and get in.
So, but there is that statement at the top that allows it, right there. That first, it gives the district administrator the right to bring it to the board for determination.
So how many, there are siblings?
Yeah, there are some.
There is, well, there's one listed here.
They're all in the high school?
The child moved to live with a mother.
Don't give too much information.
That's, it's not relevant.
That's not relevant.
The details like that are, they have to.
That's all we need to know.
So it's 4 in, 1 out, or what, 3 in, 1 out?
2 out, 1 in, and this one.
And this would be if we would make an exception. So then it'd be 2 in, 2 in, 2 out.
I thought it was another one, answer be 2 out, 4 in. Did I misunderstand that? I'm
So
so
it's 4 altogether. 2 are leaving, 2 are going to different schools.
Correct.
I got that.
And 2 want to come in, the one is the class is full.
I think I added the other person and I had 3 plus
But
the
the one
one.
that the class is full has siblings here.
Got it.
Correct.
I interpret that we have the authority to do that if we so choose, based on the circumstances. It's at the discretion of the board and the district administrator.
Okay.
I'll move on. Take a call.
To accept.
Yeah,
Approve
approve it,
To approve all 4.
whatever you got.
all 4.
So made by Mr. Manning.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Second by Mr. Brisboy. You want roll call on that? Is this money?
To accept open enrollments out. And 2 coming in. Oops.
Policy gets rewritten, though it should probably stay the same.
All right. Mr. Brisboy,
Yes.
Mrs. Variance,
Yes.
Mr. Manning,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe,
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski.
Yes.
It'd be wise on a policy committee to take this up.
Yes.
Okay.
7.3, discussion and possible action on setting lunch, breakfast, and milk prices.
We would like to leave the lunch and milk and breakfast prices alone. But we have to set them every year, so,
I got a question about the milk.
yes.
Oh, that chocolate milk is horrible. Just saying. Is there- Can we,
Horrible how, Randy?
oh, it tastes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you're referring to.
I mean, horrible for you, or,
When they, yeah, for you. No, it's good for you, but it tastes like, you know, I mean, I drank a lot of milk. We were getting free lunches, the boys wouldn't touch it. Come on, you guys drink this stuff.
they should ask for white milk.
Well, regardless.
The white, you know, Matt just threw whatever, the white milk was fine.
Chocolate is 1%.
Tell you what,
That's,
The chocolate milk, I'm a chocolate lover. That's tough to drink. It's
it's kind of watery.
Problem.
I'm just wondering if we can.
It's hard to find
look
the top
at a
of the
different
chocolate.
vendor.
Yeah, it's hard to find vendors for milk,
I'm sure,
period.
I'm
So,
sure there is.
yeah,
I'm just, I know.
okay.
You need your own bottle of syrup to add.
I think it's more the skim, the 1% of the milk versus the chocolate.
They took all the yummy part out.
I got it. It's got a real
The fat.
distinct.
Yeah, that is delicious.
I like it.
So is there a motion to keep the prices the same?
I make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Manning. Is there a second?
Is that Mrs. Rowe?
Very, very
Variance.
They're both quiet. Okay,
Sorry,
So that's money, roll call?
Yep.
Roll call.
Mr. Brisboy.
Yes.
Mrs. Variance.
Yes.
Mr. Manning.
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe.
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski.
Yes.
7.4, discussion and possible action on setting up a staff board listening session.
This was brought up by a couple of the staff members to be able to have a discussion about school. And they want you to listen. It's up to you guys.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Bring actual documented things that are happening though, please. That's what I would ask. You know, like, we, like a lot of things during this time, I feel like have been very emotional because it is. Sucks for everyone, so bring back up.
Nobody needs to.
For good and for, you know, improvement
Okay.
opportunities.
So do we want to set a date at this time?
Yep, that would be the best. I'm trying to get my calendar up.
Further narrow it down.
I presume that they would like this soon,
I presume also.
because I think it's probably about the restart of school.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So 2 weeks from today is our next board meeting.
Probably want to do it before that if we can.
1 week from today is August 3rd. If you want to stick to Mondays.
What time? I have a 6 o'clock town board.
Do you think they'd be open to earlier, I don't know, people that might not work here.
10th?
Yeah,
I
like at
could-
5?
No, on the 3rd.
No, but I mean to have it all on,
Oh,
Yeah, on the 10th I can come earlier.
We do have finance and personnel at 6.
6:30.
6:30. 6:30.
So we could do like maybe 5:30 that night? Is an hour enough or no?
could we do 5?
We could do 5.
Think that would work? That work with everybody? All right, well, I have to check with Steve. but
So
Majority rules.
Monday, the 10th at 5 o'clock. I hope you're writing this down, Chair. Before the finance and personnel.
I know. Those reasons out. I'll be chopping.
Unless it's pouring rain.
I'll find something.
And then we see.
We said 5, not 5:30, right?
5.
Okay, got it.
5 o'clock. Motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Rowe, is there a second?
second.
Second by Mr. Brisboy, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So we need to get that out to the staff then.
That'll go tomorrow.
7.5, discussion and possible action on accepting foreign exchange students.
So I did receive an email from Rose, which I forwarded to you about, actually, they're in more danger from us catching COVID than we are from them. But that's up to you guys whether or not you want to have foreign exchange students here. Problem is that they should be in a building learning with their friends, and if we have to shut down for COVID, for whatever reason, they
I
are.
feel like it's really complicated this year. We don't need to add more complications, just my personal opinion. I don't think it's a good idea.
I agree.
So that's what I'm here because we had accepted a
Oh,
student.
okay.
And so we accepted him before this all happened, and then all of this started to happen, and we were like, no, I don't think this is going to work. We don't want to have a student that if we end up online or something like that, that's going to be a situation. And we have been on the fence up until last week, and then finally we've been talking with the family, and we said, all right, yep, it sounds like sports might happen. It sounds like we might be back in school 5 days a week with all of this is possibly changing. But, you know, and we've had long discussions with them, like, this is not going to be a typical year for you. You're not going to see the normal things that you would normally see. It's going to be quite different. And knowing, you know, we were kind of hoping to talk them into waiting till next year. He still wants to come. And so last week we told him we would accept him and that it would be fine. And so they're in the process of getting the visa and stuff. So that's kind of why I'm here. I asked that they come 15 days before school so that we can quarantine because he'll be traveling through the airports and that kind of stuff. And I think that, what's that?
What age?
He'll turn 16 while he's here. So he'll be a sophomore. So yeah, that was our plan, is kind of keep them secluded for 2 weeks and then just kind of go from there. I did ask my representative that we have a backup plan if we were to go all virtual, that I can't have 4 kids at home plus him. So she said, okay, I'll come up with something, but what that is, I don't know.
Is this the one that Kathy Fry was organizing? She's
I
the one that
haven't
asked.
been in contact with Kathy Fry. Barbara Dean is my rep. So this kid's from Madrid, Spain. I mean, he's only 15. He could wait till next year. But now ball's kind of rolling, so I need to know.
Julie,
Yes,
there's another family in the district that wanted to do one.
okay,
And that was the one that Kathy Fry called me on.
okay. So there were two different ones. So if we say yes to this one, we'll have to say yes to the other one.
Like, the,
So
For
what if
me, I can only
Wisconsin
speak-
closes its borders with all the cases.
well, I mean,
What is
again,
the state
everybody's
saying?
that. I mean, we're all, like, nobody knows.
Right.
Just for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but like, thank you for coming, Rhonda, because out of my gut, I would have been like, that is a horrible idea. Why would we ever expose anyone or have any exposure? But like hearing her precautions and stuff, like I would be all for it. Like,
And
the whole world is going through something right
Yeah,
now.
that was my whole
We
thing.
cannot stop everything.
If you're coming to the United States knowing the circumstance, if you watch the world news at all, okay, you, as the child's parents, they have to have taken that into consideration and still consider the risk.
And it will be different, but all of our kids are going through something different right now. That doesn't mean we should limit every single thing that happens.
Every parent's making a decision,
Yeah.
whether they're living this country or not right now, sending their kids to school.
But
I
I
didn't
guess
necessarily
knowing
have
it's Rhonda, we can't really put the kid in any better hands.
Well, I know, but
So I mean,
But
That's
there is, Ron, a high chance that if our numbers go up, we will go virtual.
Yeah.
And it would be virtual long enough for the numbers to get back. So it
Right.
could be
A long
a
time.
long time.
I know, yes, and we've considered this, and that's why we haven't been on for so long. But,
Is that other exchange student going to arrive in time to quarantine?
I don't know.
So to me, that would be something that would have to happen.
Yeah.
Family
Yes,
that quarantined
yes.
with that child
Well, I
before.
almost think that's almost a state,
I,
or
yeah, I
a
don't know
state,
if it
a
is.
federal, like a State Department.
we got to Rhonda's point with all the airports they'll be going through and stuff.
True.
It does seem necessary.
It does seem necessary, and I almost think it is. I mean, I almost think it's mandatory.
It's a
Some of these-
good plan.
Almost like you're in the medical field or something.
Maybe
Should
we need to
consider
be in
those.
contact with the other student in the district. I think in that case, we could delay a start probably too. Couldn't we do a virtual start to the year for someone who got here not enough time
If they
to
didn't have the
quarantine?
15,
Sure.
14,
Yeah,
15
I think so.
days. They might be in the same.
I would
And would
think.
the whole family have to also? I mean, if the kid comes through a bunch of airports and they're supposed to quarantine, then the other kids who are in that household should probably virtual
well,
as
you can
well.
quarantine, I mean, we quarantined, we didn't have any trouble quarantining my husband when the rest of us could do it.
Poor guy, probably was out
You're
with the goat.
watching. Just saying, there are things that you can do. And we live in a community that can support that with outdoor activities and things to do. We're not in the middle of it.
So is there a motion to accept the foreign exchange students?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Manning, second by Mrs. Rowe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.6, discussion and possible action on expunging items. What's listed here is the safe.
The safe.
Oh.
Look at that, that's vintage.
Okay, so expunging means purging in any way we need to. We're pretty sure we would like to sell it because we might be able to
Yeah.
get some
Yeah.
money for it,
That is a,
if we can get it out of where it is.
yeah, that's
That's the
plan B. That's the.
How much
that's the
does
cap.
that thing weigh, do you know?
No idea, but,
That thing is
Wow.
heavy.
Yeah.
We were tapping on it the other, I mean, like,
and the bad part is that the wheels are, so it goes in like this, but the wheels are like this.
And so it wouldn't be moved.
So it's
You
like,
have to get like the car jacks, and then you can jack it and then turn the
Steve,
wheels.
but yeah,
Linda wants to
even
be in on that.
Steve has one of those hydraulic
Yeah.
mules for moving pallets.
Yeah, you would lift it and turn the wheels so that you could,
It probably does. I mean,
So we're gonna eBay it?
But,
well,
well, right now, the challenge, well, the motion would be to expunge the item, but let the buyer be aware they're gonna have to move it, or
right,
how would we market that, or how would we expunge?
oh, I'd put it on I don't know, eBay or Wisconsin Surplus or something.
You
Vintage.
put it out to our district first. There might
Yeah.
be somebody who wants it and
Yeah.
keep it. That'd be, I mean, if I had a report, that'd be so cool.
Is this the Sextonville safe? No, that one's in the.
No, the Saxonville safe is in the district office.
Yeah, I mean, somebody might
Yeah,
have a,
And it won't go up for sale until after we actually get approval for doing the adding an office in the office. But we needed to know if we should pull it out at least, so. All right,
fine with that.
all right, is there a motion for expunging the safe? Motion by Mrs. Variance, is there a second? Second by Mr. Bridgeboy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Decision, I think it's discussion and possible action on accepting a donation of a money counter wrapper from the hospital and a microwave from the PTSO.
Sure got that much cash laying around that she's in the hospital. Donating.
Is that for coins or what is that?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
Okay, so probably when it comes in from concessions or whatever.
Mr. Manning, I believe.
Motion by Mr. Manning, is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mrs. Rowe. It's not money on our part, so it's just, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you to
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
Always voted in money for donation.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Money
I think we do.
Yeah.
It's not money.
It's a counter.
It's an item.
It's an item.
They're both items.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not like
It's not.
$1,000 or, I think we're okay. Number 8, adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin statute 19.851C for consideration of employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. 8.1, discussion regarding the performance evaluation of a district employee, teaching staff, administration, coaching staff. Is there a motion to adjourn to closed session?
How long do you think we'll be in closed session?
Oh, not more than,
Not less
not
than?
less than 5 minutes.
I will so move to go into closed session.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Roll
Roll
call,
call. Yeah, that is a roll call.
oh my goodness, I get my cursor at the wrong spot. Roll call, sorry, Mr. Manning,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe,
Yeah.
Mrs. Blazinski.
Yes.
Yes.
I lost my place.
Mr. Me.
Mr. Brisboy,
Yes.
Mrs. Variance.
Thank you, Rhonda.
So Zoom people, we will be moving to a different room and
Yep.
then we will be back.
All right.
Yeah.
We can't go in the room that we normally go in because we don't, there's no chairs in it. Go across the hall, but you gotta grab a chair. No.
All right, with this,
Yep.
can they see it from here? Can they see it on?
On the Zoom,
Yeah.
they can see year back. That's it.
At the screen.
Nope. Jenna, hi Jenna, hi Jill, hi Carrie still here, Melissa, hi Melissa, and Meredith still here. We'll be back in a second. Board needed to talk to us without two administrators there. Chris probably went to bed. I hope he's doing okay. I mean, that meeting this morning was long, and he was here the whole time. I hope he's recuperating.
Tomorrow you're out, are you gone all day?
I'm gonna try. My mom and my sisters are driving up from Milwaukee. So I said, what do you guys want to do? Well, they canceled my law seminar.
Yep.
So we were gonna go there, and I was gonna go to the seminar and then hang out with them at night. Because they just want to go to a casino anyway. I'm not a big casino person. But I suggested making pie crust, and they're like, that sounds like work. I said, yeah, but homemade pie crust. Come on, you can't beat it.
I bought a frozen chicken pot pie from in Spring Green.
Yeah.
Try it. It's
Some of
just
their
a
stuff I
little one.
really like.
Huh?
Some of their stuff I really like.
Yeah, I love their chicken, their marinated chicken. I think I'll come in and work a little bit in the morning and get some documents made out.
Okay.
Maybe work on, have you started a survey yet?
No, but don't you think we should?
I'll start one. Adam has the family email list completed.
Oh, nice.
And I'm gonna look to see like who doesn't have an email and then make copies to mail it.
Makes sense. I think I need new glasses. I hate getting new glasses. My doctor doesn't like me to get new glasses because my eyes are so bad already. Well, if you get the higher prescription, I can see better. I know, but then you have to get them stronger again next time. Then I can see better then too. Don't tell me I can't get new prescriptions.
Yeah, like she's not wanting to get thick glasses.
Well, I paid an exorbitant amount of money so I can have these lightweight things and no lines and all that kind of stuff. I mean, when you can't see.
These aren't as
without-
lightweight as I like.
Yeah.
I'm not taking these, they're too small, I think. She's like, what do you fit your face? I'm like, you think so? But I can see better and they stay up better. Who's still on our meeting?
What?
Who's still on our meeting?
Who is still on our Zoom meeting? The diehards here. Cheryl, of course, because she's helping me take notes. Jenna, Jill Plonka, Carrie Olson, Melissa Sprecher, and Meredith Bevan.
Carrie Olson.
Olson, K-A-R-I. Olson.
Yep.
She spoke earlier.
Yep.
It's kind of nice to be able to see a picture with when they're talking. So then I can see the face and like, oh, I got it now. I'm not as good with names as you are.
Now you can see me. I have my camera off because I was. Not that I was just eavesdropping on you.
Oh, we knew it was on and it's taped, you know, so now they can hear us talking and complaining on the tape.
Understand though, hang on 1 second. I'm going to try to do something. I might have to leave again and come back in because it's saying that it's connected to, it's saying that it's Bluetooth connected to my car, but all I keep hearing is some over the horizon music in the background. So I have no clue what that is. So I wonder if I turn my Bluetooth off.
Good luck.
Oh, that works. There,
Oh,
now,
good.
now I can actually hear you guys.
August 10th at 5 o'clock, right?
Hey, Kathleen, turn around for a second. Say hi. Michaela.
Oh, she can't see Michaela, so don't bother. You're to the side. Uh-oh, I just unplugged something. Oh, shoot, I turned the computer off.
There you
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Where
There
is
you go.
she?
She's right
Covering
here.
her
Say hi,
face.
Michaela.
There.
How are ya?
Okay.
That's good.
She's like, I wish mom wasn't sitting here.
Are you still doing gymnastics this summer or not? Taking a summer off?
Just got done.
So I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm gonna, if it's okay, I wanna say something, even though it's probably just you two in there. I don't know.
Carrie, this is recorded.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
And will be posted on the website. I just want to make you aware of that. It is a public meeting, even though there's just two of us here.
Okay. Okay.
I know it's difficult.
No, it's not that. I just, you know, some things have changed in our family.
Yes, well
Okay.
aware, and I am sorry for that.
Okay, that's all I was gonna mention, but that's okay. Okay. Why do I need to pull ahead? Oh, okay. Well, here, hold this for a second so I can.
Your mask is funny. You're
Yep.
talking a lot though.
Well, I don't know, but
I like these little blue ones.
There we
it
go.
keeps the steam there, and every time I breathe out.
Oh, it's sunny.
Here they are.
All right. Everybody's seated. I'll accept a motion to reconvene to open session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Brisboy. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Rowe. Is that roll call?
No. you
All
just
in
go.
favor, say
Aye.
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 opposed. Motion carries. 9.1, discussion and possible action on hiring a school nurse. The recommendation is Skyla Wanless at $20 an hour, 2 days a month.
Yeah, I put for an average of up to 16 hours a month. Is
Okay.
that okay?
Yeah.
Because that way she doesn't have to go 2 full days. She can kind of pick and choose. All right, thank you.
You know that, or can I just say I so moved?
You can so move. Motion by Mrs. Blazinski, second by Mrs. Ferriant. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Brisboy?
Yes.
Mrs. Ferriant?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Discussion and possible action on teacher resignation, Callie Clary, and with much appreciation for her years of service. Is there a motion? No.
No.
This is gonna be a tough one, come on now.
I will honor her wishes and accept her resignation.
Okay, a
Move to
motion
accept.
by Mr. Brisbois with regrets, and is there a second?
I would second it
A
with the same.
second by Summer, and again, Mrs. Rowe. And be sure that we do a nice thank you for her years of service. She was an excellent teacher. Roll call?
No,
Or
roll
no,
call.
just action.
Yeah.
Just a motion, and that's been done. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.3, there's no action. We're bringing that back up. Or you want to discuss that now?
No, I want to discuss it.
Okay, 9.3, discussion and possible action on paying bus driver routes.
So the proposal is that the bus drivers are to do their routes without the Saxonville students. And then the first ones that are done dropping off their students at the door will go and get the probably two different bus loads of Saxonville students and bringing them here. They're usually the last ones picked up anyway, so it'll be easy to just grab 20 to 30 of them and bring them and then go grab the next 20 and 30. So I would propose that we pay our bus drivers for, if they're doing that they get paid for 2 full routes, because they're gonna have to do the route checklist, clean the bus, 2 buses when they're done, because Frank won't be doing cleaning the buses afterwards. So it does take them time to get both those routes done.
I will make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Rowe, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brisbois, roll call please.
Mrs. Rowe,
Yes.
Mrs. Blazinski,
Yes.
Mr. Brisbois,
Yes.
Mrs. Ferriant,
Yes.
Mr. Manning,
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Yes. 9.4, discussion and possible action on the transportation director's resignation. This would be Owen Richards.
And he also is resigning as a full-time bus driver, but he will sub for us.
Is there a motion to accept that resignation?
I would make the motion with many thanks to helped us out in a lot of times where we didn't have anybody to help.
Motion by Mrs. Rowe, is there a second?
Sadly, I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Blazinski. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, motion to adjourn.
Also,
Mrs. Blazinski, is there a second? Second by Mrs. Ferriant. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Let me turn the Zoom off here.
All in number.